and welcome to the workshop. I'm Kylie Ross, and I'm going to show you how you can get tech confidence and run your business with ease and not have it be scary and frustrating and all that sort of stuff. So let's have a look. So a little bit about me and my background and why I'm here to sprout being tech confident, okay? Now, I did not grow up with tech, okay? Full disclosure, I'm 53 and I grew up in the 70s. I was a year 12 high school dropout in the 80s. I thought that I would just get married, have babies in the small country town that I lived in, and that was it. And then I got the entrepreneurial bug and things changed. I didn't get married and just have babies. I went to the big smoke, to Brisbane, and I worked in hospitality for almost 5 years, full time. And after dealing with a lot of drunks, I just went, no more. So I went back, got my high school certificate, and then I went to university as a mature student, all of 21 I was, and I got my degree in the mid-90s, and I graduated with an accounting degree. So then I started working my way through the various different levels of being an accountant in different industries, and as part of that, once I was qualified, I started traveling and living my dream. So I went to the UK, I worked in Scotland and Ireland, the Republic of Ireland, and I travelled all around the UK over into Europe. I've also travelled up and down the east coast of Australia, and I've worked in New Zealand for quite a few years. So it's been really cool having this skill behind me to do it. Now, what switched it though was that it's very boring doing journals and month end and yada yada yada, but I really enjoyed the tech side of it. I enjoyed how do the apps work, how do you do the accounting journals, how does all this happen. So I started getting involved in systems accounting at that time when I was traveling, and I just really enjoyed it. So I started learning myself, and also I began teaching others. I became a bit of a unofficial tech translator, as you could say. So all of that happened. I was working in financial services when the global financial crisis hit in 2009-ish, and I went, there's got to be more than doing this. So came back to Brisbane. I'm a solo mum of a young'un, and I had him when I was 41, so a little bit later in life. Best thing I ever did though. And I think coming into the chapter that I'm talking about in Goodbye Busy, Hello Happy, you don't know exhaustion until you're a parent. You really don't, and especially a solo parent doing it yourself. That was very interesting. So I had to change how I was going to be working to support us, and hence my business was born, Tech Savvy Creatives. So I created my first online course and have never looked back. So let's have a little bit more of a look through here. Now, one thing that I have, it's been my motto for decades now: if you want to learn, you will. It's as simple as that. It doesn't matter if you didn't grow up with tech. If you want to learn, you will. And it takes baby steps. We all had to learn to walk, to talk, to write, to read. And you don't just open a laptop and you instantly know everything. It doesn't work like that. It'd be great if it did, but it doesn't. So you have to learn how to be tech confident. And that's what I'm going to show you. So let's have a little chat about that. Let's go into it. So we're going to have a go through being tech confident, automating your business and why that can be very useful to you, and what tools you could use to automate your business and how to get started with that. So let's start off with the tech confidence. Now, this story of Max, and I think this is a really pivotal moment in my life when I realized that how much people didn't know about tech and how much I could teach. Now, Max, and this is not the real Max, by the way, I was working as a consultant, running my own business, and I was working as a consultant in a greenfield site. So a brand new factory was being built to build aluminium products, things that go with houses and stuff like that. So it was a huge big site, and it was being built up and set up, so it wasn't running yet. So we only had one forklift driver just moving all the stock around as it was coming in, and his name was Max. And he was just a forklift driver moving things around, and I was there setting up the system, the software system in the accounting department. And my boss at the time, he said, can you go teach Max how to, when stock comes in, how to enter it into the system, and how to look at the inventory and know when it's getting low and order more and things like that. And I went, yeah, sure, no problem. I'd been teaching people software for quite a few years, or as it was in different countries, and so I thought, yeah, fine. So Max and I get together. Now Max is, he was shorter than me, and we're in a manufacturing industry, so being a female to start with, people are going, what could you possibly know? How could you possibly teach me anything? And also to be, for a male to be shorter than me, they get quite defensive about that, I have found in history. So, but Max wasn't like that, but he was shaking. He was so nervous to be in a room with me, and I couldn't figure out why. And so we sat down at the computer, and I said, oh, well, just open up this app and just, and he went, what? And I said, well, just drag your mouse over and click on that one there. And he went, what? And I realized, and it was a real shock to me, because I'd been around computers at that stage for at least 10, 15 years at that point. But they were new to me, as well as when I started my uni career. But Max had never seen a computer. He'd never touched one. He didn't have one in his home. And you have to think, this story was just over 20 years ago. So yeah, the year 2000. But I mean, I know it was all coming and, not everyone had computers in their own home. So that was a real eye-opener to me, to take a step back and to change my teaching style. Now, Max was really, he had this wall up. He goes, oh, I can't, I don't know what to do. I'm never going to do this. It's going to be hopeless. I'm going to get sacked. And because his job relied on him having to learn how to use this software. And it was very common software in the industry at the time. It's not the cheapest kit on the block, and it wasn't the easiest to learn. But what we did is we sat down. I said, look, don't worry about it. We've got time. And I just showed him the basics. I said, okay, the keyboard, okay, you know what the name is, but this is what it does, and here's the keys we're going to need, and here's the mouse, and move it around like this. So I didn't sort of talk down to him. I just went, okay, this is where we're starting. Let's start here. So he started to calm down a little bit, but for the next couple of lessons, he was still shaking just being around me, because he was so scared that he wouldn't be able to do it. And I just had to keep reinforcing him, go, look, let's one step at a time. And then he would do one thing, and he would just beam, and it was just so cool to see. And then after a few lessons, he was doing stuff and he didn't need me. He was like, I just did this, Kylie. I just booked this in, and I've just changed this. And I went, can you check it? Can you check it? I go, perfect, job done. And so then we got onto some more advanced stuff on running reports and what he was going to need to do it. And then he was just, you could just see the shoulders back, and I did it, And what was really cool about that, and I didn't realize, so at the time, so 20 years ago, Max was 49 years old, and we did this cheap teaching thing for a couple of months, and he got the hang of it, and he started running the whole supply area, and he became the manager. So he went from a forklift driver, not realizing that he could do more, and because he'd learnt this software, he became the manager of that whole area, and got this huge promotion, and had people working for him. And he just thought it was the coolest thing. And his 50th birthday, he was taking a sabbatical, and he was going off and doing some riding a motorbike in the outback, something that was his on his bucket list. But before he left, he came up to me, and he just thanked me for spending the time with him and getting him through that, because he didn't think he could do it. And that's when my motto starts, well, if you want to learn, you will. And he wanted to learn once he got over the shock of moving a mouse around. But he wanted to learn, so he did. And I think that goes with a lot of people today. I mean, even though tech has been around for a long time, and most of you will have a smartphone and know how to email, using the different tech for your business, for what you need, it's not obvious. And you don't have to feel bad about that. But if you want to try and figure it out and to move through and automate your business, then you just have to want to learn, and you will. Baby steps. So yeah, as I say, baby steps. We all had to learn somewhere. Nothing is open a laptop and have it go, or plug and play, as they say. You always have to learn something. I'm always learning new software because I enjoy it. Okay, so why would you want to automate your business, and why do you want to go with the tech? Because you're probably quite happy with your diary, or just using notifications and to-dos, things like that. Well, as a lover of tech, I do like to automate things. I hate busy work. I hate doing repetitive data entry. So the usual things that come with running a business is, so I sell online courses, I sell coaching packages, I sell templates, and I sell them from a website, and that website is linked up through a payment gateway that then puts the money into my bank account. Now, I also have that linked up to my bookkeeping software so that I don't have to enter every sale and payment in there. I like to have that happening. Now, if you only got one or two a day, it's not a major drama to automate it, but I like to grow things and have a few more things happening in a day, and I don't want to have to be catching up at the end of the day and doing my bookkeeping. So that's one thing. Now, the other part of it is when you're doing coaching, you need a booking calendar. So I have that automated as well. So when someone buys a coaching package, they can go in and look at my calendar, and I've got certain slots that I have available, and they can book a time. I get a notification about it. It goes into my to-do list, and it says, you've got this appointment, books it into my calendar, and that way I can get ready and prep for it, depending on what the coaching is about. So that's all great. It's all simple stuff. Now, what really hit home to me that this was pretty cool is that I caught COVID, as probably most of you out there have. If you haven't, try and keep away from it. It sucks. It's not good. So I caught COVID in March, and I thought, oh yeah, I've had all the injections, I'm all the vaccines, I'm covered. I'll just get a bit sick, and I thought I'd be off for a week. And I was down for the count for 2 weeks easily. I could not work. I didn't even want to turn on my computer. So all of this, it hit the brain fog, the lethargy, all of that. And I didn't even think to turn off anything on my website. So I had sales happening. Perfect. I had some coaching booked as well. Luckily, when they purchased it and chose to book the time with me, it was when I was back up and running, because I only had to be on camera for an hour. So I thought, okay, I'm getting back into the workday, I can do that. So my business just went on without me. I was making sales, I had some coaching bookings come in, and it was all automated. So I have various software that I use to do that, and it all comes down to figuring out, if you want to learn, you will. So if you want to start thinking about automating your business, you just need to take it in baby steps. And so there's various different phases of your business, and you don't have to tackle them all at once. You can do it in, I said, baby steps. So what people talk about is a tech toolkit or a tech stack. So it's the tech that you have, the apps, the software that you have at your disposal that you can use to run your business. So that's what a toolkit essentially is. These are the apps that I have in my toolkit. This is what I use. And I break it down into these categories. So planning and productivity, content creation, websites and hosting, e-commerce, marketing and analytics, and reporting and finance. You can go more granular than that. You can trim it up, but basically these are the phases that we need to cover in our day-to-day business. And now I've just put a few of my favorites on here. This is certainly not an exhaustive list, but when you're in the planning and productivity phase, you can use apps like ClickUp, Asana, Monday.com. So anything that you can, I should say Trello as well. Anything where you can make a to-do list and have reminders and plan out what you need and capture information about what you need to do is certainly a time saver. If you're writing all of this down in a book, then you've got to remember to look at it, and you can't see an overall picture, and it's not quite the same. So these productivity apps or project management apps are really good for entrepreneurs. Some are better for solopreneurs than with teams. So Asana and Monday.com actually sell it by in team groups, whereas ClickUp you can buy it for just one person at a time, and they all have free versions and free trials as well. So definitely recommend tracking out the free trials to see if the app suits you. Content creation, I use Canva daily. So I create images for my website, I create PDFs for my courses, I create, this presentation was on Canva, I create social media posts, everything, because you can just size it up and it all just looks great. I also use Camtasia, which I've used to record this presentation, because I can break it down, I can edit it, I can put little arrows and things in it, and I can make it look really user-friendly for the learning experience. Other ones you can do is Zoom. Descript is translation software, so I also have a podcast and I want to do a transcript. I also use it for my YouTube videos as well. I create the video in Camtasia, I export it, I put it into Descript, I let it work its magic, and it translates everything for me. I just have to tweak up the odd word here and there. You can also edit Descript, and it also optimizes your video, which is really awesome. Handbrake also does that as well. And Snagit is part of the Camtasia family with TechSmith apps, and it's screen captures and things like that. So I know I'm going fast, but don't worry. All of this information, I've got a Tech Tools directory on my website, which I'll give you some info at the end. And I've got a cool freebie for you coming up that will help you with all of this. So don't stress if you've never heard of any of these apps before. It's all part of the learning and baby steps. Take one thing at a time, get good at that, and then move on. So websites and hosting, you can have a website. I personally use Kajabi because it's really good for online courses and coaching, etc. And it does. It's more an all-in-one package. Whereas WordPress I had previously, you've got to get different plugins and add-ons to make all the things work in your business. Cloudflare is a cool optimization platform that helps share your website out around the world and make it work the best performance in those locations. So that's all really cool. On the e-commerce side, we have Stripe and PayPal, which commonly you've probably heard of. They take the money and connect to your website, and then on the other side, they connect to your bank account and give you the money. Shopify is another type of website. It's specifically an e-commerce type of site to sell products rather than services generally. Okay, so then moving on to marketing and email as a phase. As I've put Kajabi in there twice because I use the email from Kajabi, but you can also use apps like Webinar Jam or EverWebinar to actually do webinars and share out your message. I look at Google Analytics to see how everything's happening and who's on my site. If you're looking for email marketing providers, that's ActiveCampaign and ConvertKit are a couple that are quite cool. And then at the tail end we have the finance. So how are you going to record all of this great stuff and all of this sales and what's happening here? I personally use Xero. I've also used QuickBooks and MyOb in the past, and FreshBooks is another good one. So there's all the things, and all of these things usually automate and integrate very well. I won't say all of them do because not everyone talks to everything. Kajabi talks to Stripe and PayPal really well, and it talks to Calendly, which I use as my booking system. But you can also use, I've got these automations down here. So Make, formerly Integramap, is really cool for linking different things together. So I use Make to, when I've got a sale, it hits Stripe or PayPal. So I've got Stripe and PayPal integrated through Make with Xero. And so it processes the sales receipt, it creates the contact if necessary, and it adds the payment. So I don't have to do anything on that side of it other than do my bank rec. So that works really well. I've also got with Calendly, whenever somebody makes a coaching booking with me, it links and it updates ClickUp so that I get the appointment, and I've got templates in there of to-do lists and checklists that automatically create, depending on the type of coaching package they've bought, as to what things I might need to prep for. So that's just a really, really fast overview of what you can do and how you can make it all work together. It's all going to depend on your business, how you like to work. Just because I like ClickUp doesn't mean you'll like ClickUp. You have to see what works for you and visually how you like to work. Because if you visually don't like the app, you're not going to use it. It's got to suit you. Okay, so we come back to my saying, if you want to learn, you will. Okay, everything is a step. Everything takes a process. Some take longer than others. So thank you for listening this far. So I've got a bit of a gift for you. I have a Tech Toolkit template that I created in ClickUp, because yes, ClickUp is my favorite app to do this in. And what it does is it records all of your tech tools in these categories that I've got here, but you can also put down how much you're paying for it. Is it monthly, yearly? Is it free? Are you trialing it? And are you using it in a workflow? So there's a whole way of doing your workflow analysis to say, okay, well, do I need an app in this section? Okay, what are my options? So this particular template I have on my website, I sell it for $15 US, but I'm giving it to you for free. You can either scan the QR code here, or you can go to my website, techsavvycreatives.com/store, and this is the tile that you'll see, organize your tech tools with ClickUp. And when you go to buy it, if you use this discount code, so GBHH Kylie, it's valid until the 24th of September, so just after the launch this week, and you will get it for free. So you will download it. I've also got video tutorials to show you how to use it. So if you've never used ClickUp, don't worry. You can use this on the free version of ClickUp. ClickUp is free forever. It's not just a trial term of 14 days or something. So it is free forever, which is another reason why I like it. And you can implement and use this template and see if you like it. But I'd say I found this invaluable when I was trying to organize my business life, to go, what apps do I have? What am I using them for? Because what you'll really find is when you get this list down, I had over 120 apps when I first did it. Some are free, some are paid. And I realized that once I actually looked at them and what they did and what I was using them for, some apps had features that did the same thing. So by just changing my workflow and my steps, I was able to use one app instead of 2 or 3. And I streamlined down that list, and ultimately I streamlined down what I was paying for. So check it out. Let me know what you think. You can also find some more free resources on my website there at techsavvycreatives.com. So thank you for listening. I hope you enjoy the book, and I hope to see you on the socials soon. Bye.